So apparently I have a package somewhere around here, but I don't know, this looks a bit big. I'm not really inspecting anything this side. Dave! Well, that's a pleasant surprise, and you're already gloved. Hi everyone, Jonathan here with sort of another What Is This Weapon? We are shamelessly crowbarring in our good friend Dave Jewitt from the EXP
Crowbar me in a way.
channel, yes, where some of you at least, will see me fairly regularly as well. And you have been covering the Battlefield 6, have you not?
Yeah, and I think we've taken this opportunity because we're up shooting some stuff for EXP, and we've decided to just use this as an excuse to gas about a game.
Absolutely, and you're going to have to suffer through it or not. You know, you can just not, but we hope you do. Stay with us. You will have seen our previous, and I'm sure it will come back again, our Antiques Gun Show format, where we go sort of supermarket sweeping through the collection and pick some stuff and hide it from each other. This isn't that, but it's sort of jumping off a bit from that. We just want to talk about a game that we're having a bit of fun with, and that you've been covering with another episode on the way.
Yeah, so we'll have done 3 episodes with yourself on Battlefield 6.
Yeah.
Maybe by the time this video's out. So we've covered most of the arsenal by now, and after many hours played, we've definitely got our favourite loadouts, weapons to use in game.
Even I this time, I think I've just hit rank 52, so I may not be very good, but I put in enough time to...
Quite a shift.
Yeah, exactly. Put in the time, if not the correct amount of skill. So we are... Now, the thing that I suppose caveats are... We're not doing strict classes or loadouts, but then neither does Battlefield 6. There's a lot of flexibility now between weapons.
Yep.
So we're going to leverage that to break free of too strict a loadout format. But we're going to sort of adhere to that. And the other caveat is this collection is very good, but it's not good enough to be able to find everything that we might want to talk about, or in the same generation or modified format that some of them exist in the game. Not to preempt anything too much, but where should we start?
Why don't we kick off with your first pick? Since it's been a few days since I last played, and you were on it a couple nights ago. And I think the last time we played, last memory I have of playing with you is I decked a chopper into the ground.
Hey, look, you might not have fly this damn thing. It can't be that hard. It's just lift versus drag and rotation.
So let's start with you, as you've been having more success.
If I recall correctly, at that point, I was still making a fair bit of use of... Not exactly this. This is a very vanilla G3 7.62 quote-unquote battle rifle by H&K. But the very spur-influenced one that's in the game, I was enjoying that quite a bit. I will go back to it at some point. So that's got the Hakan Spurs design of special, funky, modern buttstock, and very cool looking and practical rail system on the front, and his form of sight mount as well, I think. Makes for a very different look. I think the only discrepancy I think someone else noticed before me, was the green pistol grip.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be, it's the AK-4D in game, which is a correct designation for the Swedish Army.
Yeah, was it the... it popped up across the internet recently because is it 9-hole reviews?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
seems
one...
to be based on their rifle.
Someone had configured one exactly like his by accident, I think it was. But yeah, no, we've been drawn somewhat to, in this kind of, first-person shooters generically, to more powerful weapons that are a bit slower firing.
Yeah.
So my first thought is, in this case, because we have classes, assault class is probably going to be my go-to. And I generally prefer to try and be more accurate with fewer bullets. I don't always succeed. But I was doing okay with this for a while. I don't know what you think about.
It's tricky with games like with Battlefield and Battlefield 6 especially, because there is such a varied engagement range. The game does encourage you to switch your loadout up a bit.
Kind of does, yeah.
So with a weapon like this, or the AK-4D as they call it in game, you do really want to be using it at those mid to long ranges. Now, a mid to long range in the real world is quite, it's very different to a mid to long range in the world of Battlefield. Like in our recent recording, we were talking about the Barrett MRAD, and in game it says this anti-material rifle is designed for extreme distances, best used between 75 to 150 meters.
The more they kind of draw attention to that, and the more they try and make more of their own sort of gameplay, the more it becomes apparent that you're playing in a very small sandbox. You know, so the challenge for the recon class, which I've been attempting, of 200-meter headshots. I mean, I'm no fighter, but that's very doable, and yet in the game, way harder.
Yeah, and the thing, you know, to bear in mind with this one as well is smaller magazine. And again, I think Battlefield 6 is much more fast-paced than a lot of other Battlefields. So slow fire rate, small magazine at a time when you're, you know, rushing an objective is probably not going to work super well in your favor. And obviously they have the customization system. How big a magazine can you even get on a G3?
I've seen extended ones, and HK do drum mags for the LMG variants, but the standard that you're likely to get your hands on is just the 20. And I can't remember what the game allows you to
I think
unlock. I haven't got that far with it. I do need to go back.
I think it maxes out at 30, but
Right.
I've mostly just seen this thing used by people trying to do the objective. There's a challenge to get a certain amount of headshots over a distance with the assault class. And it's just like, well, you just use something like this. It's not the most comfortable weapon to use in-game, but yeah, in those longer distances, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anything better in the assault rifle class.
I felt like I was doing okay at closer ranges with it, but you're going to lose against anyone good with a faster firing, smaller caliber.
That's the thing. Everyone's using
like a
PDWs,
433.
SMGs now.
That HK 433, which I love that design, by the way. It's the opening unlock for the assault class. It's not even an unlock. It's just the opening gun. You can pretty much play with that throughout. You could just stick to that, couldn't you? But as soon as you start moving away from that, that's when you find yourself, oh, I need to switch to something else because we're playing a different game mode, or I'm engaging at a different distance. It's a different phase of the fight. And this really does slightly start to fall down. But I still like that idea of shooting fewer shots more accurately.
And that's the thing with Battlefield 6 is that it's done a very authentic job in replicating a lot of these firearms. But in doing so, you come into this issue where it's like, well, what is this gun doing differently from that one?
Yeah, I mean, if you're good enough,
damage, very similar effect from range. This is the one that stands out most, I would say, because it's not the only 7.62, but I think it's the hardest hitting rifle.
I think so. There's the 417.
I think the Galil uses 7.62 as well.
The Tavor is also a 7.62. Weirdly enough, apparently that's a bit of a handful. I've unlocked it, but I haven't played with it.
Yeah, that one really exemplifies. You need to get a foregrip on this as soon as possible because it shakes, it rocks.
So that's my pick for, I guess, assault class primary. Do you want to go for your equivalent?
Yeah, it won't surprise people to know what I've picked if you've watched some of the videos we've done on EXP. I am a long-time fan of a certain rifle. The B36, as Battlefield calls it.
Feels so like peak euphemism.
Yeah.
B36.
I mean, the magazine is literally labeled G36 on this one, so we do know what it is, really. But it's firstly, not to sort of just sound too cringe, but it's peak aesthetic. My one gripe is that they don't have the transparent box magazines because I think, you know, a server full of players running one of those is just going to be an absolute rendering nightmare. But it's really interesting because this is a gun that has existed in games for a long, long time. And Battlefield's obviously wanted to continue its inclusion, but they've done so with the upgraded version. So they've taken some real-world inspiration and gone, oh, let's get a fan favorite weapon in there. Let's get something a bit more iconic, or something that people are going to be accustomed with, but bring it up to our current year.
Well, this is the thing. They clearly pay attention, I suppose a lot of developers of such games do, because they want. I don't know if it's so much they want to be up to date as bring the player something visually new. I don't know. We'd have to ask them. But certainly they've gone for the modernised G36. The actual designation didn't broadly change, other than there are different variants, but this, so that there were some issues under sustained use, and this one has had that use and has melted inside, by the way. Now that's not what it's designed for. Although there is an LMG version, you're still not supposed to like.
Yeah, because this one's marked LMG.
Yeah, G36 LMG. This is from a UK police service, hence it has a flashlight on it, and it came with these mags clamped together. So in case you've ever wondered, pegs on one side, cups on the other, and you sit the top, you peg and cup together, and then rock them together.
It's like gun Meccano.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so this did not come with the optic, which it absolutely would have been used with in service. I'm not entirely sure what. Different, of course, customization within the game allows for different barrel lengths. Doesn't do the COD thing of changing the handguard, really, unless it has to shorten it. So, for example, the M4A1, which I was whinging about on your channel, you're just stuck with that standard Knights Armament quad rail. You never get to go for a URGI forend or anything modern. So they've updated the G36 with, I didn't finish my thought, sorry, the machined aluminium trunnion block, essentially, that allows it to better handle sustained fire. Still light, all it does is add cost, really. So they've updated it. We haven't got one yet. We're hoping HK will let us have one of those, or let us buy one of those. And hopefully a 433 as well. So you have well, effectively you have 3 of the modern HK products in there, because the 417's in there.
Yeah.
The 416 is an older variant because it's based on the M27, but HK are pretty well represented.
There's a lot of HK in Battlefield
In fact,
6.
the more you think about it, the more there are. But we're thinking of rifles in particular, albeit this is pretending to be a machine gun.
Well, one of the details that we haven't covered yet, because it's one of those games that the more I play it, the more little things that I start to notice. And I find that I notice a lot of these details when I'm not looking for them a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And like one of the ones that we talked about is the machine gunner's hand, the support class's hand getting tired from sustained fire. And something I've realized is barrels will actually glow red hot with sustained fire as well.
So I've heard, and I'm too rubbish. I get killed too quickly to ever see that happen. But yeah, I don't think we picked up on it. Or I don't think I picked up on it in your footage.
I don't know if every weapon does it, but it's interesting that they've got that heating represented and also introduced the new G36 variants that is supposed to be able to deal with those high temperatures a bit better. Obviously, it doesn't really affect gameplay. It's just a cool visual detail that, you know, people letting loose with sustained fire, their barrel will glow red. Yeah, thankfully the video game versions won't melt. But yeah, this is my favorite rifle from the game. It's my favorite rifle. It's always been one of the coolest ones ever since I first played it in black. I think when we did a video last year, I think I also picked a G36 then.
Yes, you did.
So I'm my own cliche at this point, but if there was ever a way to get these transparent mags in, I would be all over it.
What about the Dymo label with G36 written on it?
That I'm less
think that's
interested. They'll have to put B36A4. I'd love to know why they went with B. I often wonder if there's an Easter egg there, like maybe the artist's surname begins with B.
Clearly it stands for Bevere.
Yeah, which is the language of which country, remind me?
I don't know, Albonia maybe?
Germany? No, it's a great gun, and it's one that when I first started unlocking parts for it, it was I really realised how well Battlefield has implemented the attachment system, how authentic they've tried to be, how they've gone for balance. You know, this is an LMG variant, but even the in-game one, I think the max magazine capacity is like 40 or something. And there's been a term that's floated around the internet called battle dads. And while I'm not a father, I do think I'm in that camp, because you compare customization options and the usage of these weapons to a lot of other first-person shooters, and it does feel much more deliberate and potentially more advantageous for an audience that might be not as quick as they used to be.
Oh, I see.
Which
okay.
I'm definitely feeling.
Right.
So
Feeling called out there.
yeah, a little bit. Well, I mean, we can tease it nice and early, but we might be heading to the field of battle together again.
The
soon.
field of battle.
Yeah.
That's the legally different version of the game.
I saw someone say, I'm not very good at Battlefield anymore. I need more field, less battle.
Oh, yeah. Just a nice walk in the countryside.
Yeah, sounds delightful.
Maybe a shooting stick to sit on.
If all goes well, we'll be facing off against Cody Firearms Museum again in Battlefield 6.
Yes.
So if you need a ringer,
Rematch.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
right,
Yeah.
I'm there.
Absolutely. Now, we haven't so far looked at any, well, gadgets we don't really have. Launchers of things, though. I found I haven't tried fitting the M320 style launcher to a weapon.
Yeah.
Seems like a waste of points.
And you don't get the advantage of, as far as I can tell, it offers no advantage in terms of controlling your weapon. It doesn't function like a foregrip. I might be wrong there, but I've kept it as a separate attachment.
Which might be the only real world advantage at this point of an underbarrel launcher. Lots of active users are switching over to standalone grenade launchers. So maybe that's a little reflection of reality there, that there isn't any point putting it on your weapon. I also, though, haven't found a great deal of point using them. Like, I've been using the thermobaric launchers to try and get a certain challenge badly. But the area of effect is very low on those. They don't really feel massively effective, and you don't get many rounds considering how ineffective they are. What I know we both like, and we can share this one, I think.
Yeah, this is my choice in launcher as the engineer.
So more so than, because I have unlocked the Javelin lookalike. That's just not great.
No.
And the other one, which I forget because I barely used it, also not great. The other guided thing.
A Stinger.
It's a Stinger. Oh, is it a Stinger?
There's
just a Stinger you can use against tanks. There's another ground.
There's another ground launcher. I can't remember the name of it. There's the Stinger, which I barely use because it's just so easy to dump flares and flee in an enemy jet or chopper. The Javelin, similarly, haven't used.
Yeah.
I have used this.
So correctly, the Stinger is only usable against aircraft, I believe.
If a recon
it's
is
painted.
laser designating it, then you can use a Stinger against ground vehicles.
Anyway, we agree. They're all rubbish. Where it's at is this thing.
The best guided is unguided.
Correct. Yeah.
And let me tell you, it is so immensely satisfying launching one of these and just nailing an enemy helicopter.
I haven't managed that.
I've done it enough.
I don't think.
Humble brag, but I did it 4 times in one game, to the point where the enemy pilot who was there spamming spawn as the helicopter was respawning, just typed, seriously? Which is delicious. It's so good.
The sweet tears of your enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
No, I haven't pulled that off. I've only shot helicopters down with the Stinger, funnily enough. But I agree that in principle this is great. I've been shot down in a jet with this, which is desperately irritating.
Yeah.
Especially how long it takes to get in the damn thing.
I've been shot down plenty of times in a helicopter with this too, and it is irritating me. I have to be like, well done, you didn't use lock on, I didn't have to dump flares, it was just I was flying. Now
Fair
I'm not.
enough. But it's great against the armoured vehicles, more so than the guided stuff, which is kind of nuts. Like the top attack of the Javelin should be really good. It's not. It does the same damage as a decent hit from this.
Yeah.
And generally the sort of ranges we're shooting at, this thing is in theory usable against main battle tank sized targets out to 300 metres. But if you haven't looked through the scope before, you can do.
Well, fun enough, there's a guy that goes by the name Moy Dog. He does a lot of squad stuff, and he actually broke down the sight system of the RPG.
Oh.
It's not, I mean, it's battlefield distances, so it's not properly implemented.
Yeah.
It's much shorter, but if you're having trouble aiming your RPG, he's a good source on how to lock in those long range
That was kind of my
targets.
point, is that the effective ranges in the game is to kind of just put the thing on the thing and pull the trigger. It's rare for me to miss with this.
Or fire it from, I mean, not really the hip, but just guesswork. Just if it feels right, pull the trigger. And
Absolutely, yeah. Especially if I'm having a bad day trying to hit people, especially snipers. our camera guy Josh is nodding fervently behind the camera there. Yes, absolutely. I can't hit this guy. Screw it, and just wang a PG7 in there, and then you get the kill thing flash up. It's immensely satisfying, and you know that they're raging as well.
Another detail that I wasn't aware of until literally yesterday. I was watching a compilation video of all these interesting little details that they've added in. I'm sure we can throw to that video right now. There's backblast. If you approach an
I've been
enemy,
wondering about this. I haven't noticed it.
there's a graphical effect, but also if you approach an enemy and he's behind you and you shoot an RPG, it will do damage. One shot isn't enough to kill an opponent, but the fact they've modelled backblast, because that's never really going to be, unless there was people like us and them that loves details like this, that they obviously went and tested it. I don't think people were going to notice that there were a backblast.
That's cool.
Another detail that has sort of been, I don't want to use the word controversial, but there's been a few players complaining that its effect on infantry is very minimal unless you basically hit them with the munition.
That's fair.
And a few people have said, well, it's an anti-tank warhead, not a fragmentation or anti-personnel warhead. And I mean, the crux of it is obviously if that thing goes anywhere near you and detonates, it's going to do quite a bit of damage instead of just suppress you. But it's a gameplay thing. They've made it so that engineers aren't just getting easy kills with an RPG, and that they are more incentivized to use it against a vehicle or a building or a wall piece of cover than they are against a group of enemies or a singular enemy crossing a piece of ground.
If anything, it's probably too effective against structures, because if you've seen these things in footage, or there's a particular image I remember finding, I think it might even have been a stock image archive shot from a war zone somewhere. You see that effect of the particle jet that's created by the shaped charge. It's just a relatively small caliber, it's not caliber, but hole in this concrete wall, and then a load of black scorching and some fragmentation, some of which may have been small arms fire as well. But you could see the sort of splash effect, and it was clearly going to be more deadly to infantry than the game is. But yes, it is quite localized. You know, this is not intended as a fragmentation warhead. It sort of by default creates fragments if it explodes against a hard surface, but that's not really the point of it. Now, there are anti-personnel rounds, which would be interesting to see implemented. The OG7, notably, which only sticks out sort of that far. Almost looks like there's no warhead fitted or munition fitted, just a little bit, the nose just sticks out. Glorified 40mm grenade, essentially. Not 40mm, but of that ilk. So that has a more arcing trajectory. No rocket assist, because this is technically a recoilless weapon, not a rocket launcher. But when it launches this, it kind of is a rocket launcher. But I think that probably would unbalance things too much.
Yeah.
Because they already have the launchers. If they wanted something that was effective in that way, they would just make the 40mm launchers more effective. I guess, so, because we haven't picked this up in a video yet with you.
No,
but,
not yet.
Maybe we will. But just a quick nod to, so this bit, so you'll see guys in conflict zones with these things prepped, ready to go. You want to do this at home, I guess, wherever, or base. You screw that on and you load it into the weapon like this. And this keeps the fins together, and then it fragments when it's fired and is destroyed, and the fins flick out at that point. In the game, they have magically got folded fins, no casing, and you just slot it into the weapon.
Yeah.
So minor complaint on the realism side, but it's kind of true as a viable weapon that even the PG7 rounds in the RPG7 is still very capable, you know, and enough rounds on something like an Abrams is still going to cause it problems.
Yeah, I think it takes, even if you're hitting it from the back, like a main battle tank in game, it's 3. So that's your entire complement.
In reality, I don't know about the rear. Tank experts, feel free to chime in at this point. But the fact that the tanks in the game take multiple RPG-7 hits from the conventional warhead isn't surprising. I think in reality they tank a lot more than 3, certainly from the sides or the front.
Well, there's stories of was it a British tank that took like a dozen or more RPG-7 shots? Obviously, again, we're back to gameplay balance things, but this.
But the problem isn't really with the RPG-7 in the game. The problem is with the other launchers.
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, do I want to say that they could do with a buff? Because I'm struggling to keep my vehicles alive long
Absolutely.
enough as it is.
I think it's fine, actually. Let's shut up and homer into the hedge at this point.
It's both my launcher of choice and the main reason my friends who I play with say, Dave, why are you flying so crazy? It's to avoid this. That's why I do it.
Right, well, for time, I think we'll call it there and make this a part 1. But we have a lot more nerdy wittering to do. So join us again for part 2 of this discussion next time.